All right, all right. Welcome to the class. So we will proceed. And today we are going to talk about cost of capital. Okay. Now, for a while now, we have been focusing on capital budgets. And we have been focusing on capital budgets. Welcome, Enid.
Yeah, hello, Professor.
Welcome to the class. Okay. We for a while now we have been focusing on capital budgets. Now, when we began to talk about capital budgets, we went through the basic process of capital budget decision making, and we had information given to us as given. We had cash flow, we had time frame, we had cost of capital, and all of that was given to us, and then we could calculate the net present value. And when we got that basic concept, when we understood it, the next thing was for us to calculate cash flow. Okay, now cash flow does not come from thin air. Cash flow is based on business activity. And so you have sales, you have expenses, you have profit, you have depreciation, and you have cash flow. Okay, so now when we were done with the cash flow calculation, we went into some complications of capital budgeting. And so we talked about risk. We talked about sensitivity analysis, which is part of risk analysis. We talked about scenario analysis, which again is another way to take into consideration risk. And so now we go to the next stage. And that stage is to say, where does cost of capital come from? Okay, how do we get cost of capital? We already talked about the cost of capital before even we got into capital budgeting. But the point is, how do we now apply it in capital budget? So cost of capital, comes from looking at the techniques we use for time value of money, because at the end of the day, capital budgeting decision is based on time value of money, which we already learned earlier. So today we're going to ask ourselves, how do we calculate the cost of capital? And so what do we consider capital in a business? You look at a typical balance sheet. The capital comes from equity, comes from common stock, comes from debt, long-term debt and short-term debt. We do not include things like accounts payable. Okay, cost of capital comes from preferred stock. Okay, those are the four components of capital. What we do is we look at the balance sheet of a company, and we then look at how each of these components of capital contribute to the capital structure of a business. So I'm going to share our screen to illustrate the points to you. Okay, so I'm going to go to the beginning of the screen. The beginning of the PowerPoint slides. Okay. So this is how we calculate cost of capital, and we use the calculated cost of capital, and we apply it to what do you call it? Capital budgeting. Okay. So today we are going to learn about cost of capital. We're going to learn about the firm's capital structure, and then estimate the cost of the individual sources of capital. All right. And then, of course, we're going to apply this to a capital budgeting problem, or at least explain how it's applied to capital budgeting problems. All right. Now, what we use is what we call a weighted average cost of capital, or WACC. Okay, a weighted average cost of capital. So this is a weighted average. So the cost of capital depends on the contribution or the proportion of each component of capital. I usually call this KC. This weighted cost of capital, not KC, KW. Okay, which is a weighted cost of capital. So okay, so I call it KW, which is a weighted cost of capital. And so, and the way that it's done is just that the weighted cost of capital, takes into consideration the contribution, the extent of the contribution of each particular component of capital. And for any firm, for any business, the weighted cost of capital will depend on the particular mix of financing. If you have more debt and the cost of debt is low, so your cost of capital will be lower than if you have equity and the cost of equity is high. Now, as we go further to look at the components of capital, we also are going to be thinking about the risk of the risk contribution of each component. But for today, we're going to be looking at the basic concept of the cost of capital. Here, this is a weighted cost of capital, which is a weighted equation. But I'm going to simplify what you have here. This is the simplified equation. The cost of capital KW is a weighted average. Okay, is the sum of the weights times each component. So we have WE times KE, WP times KP, WD times KD. WE is the cost of equity. Generally, what we call equity is the retained earnings, the accumulated retained earnings of a business. And then the cost. So we have the weight, what percentage comes from accumulated retained earnings times the cost. And then we have what percentage, WP refers to the percentage, and the percentage, as you know, is less than 100%, or in proportion is less than 1, times the cost of preferred stock, and then the cost of debt, times 1 minus T, the tax rate, okay? Because you can deduct interests, the interest on debt from your tax. And so we also weight or include the tax rate for the cost of debt. And then WCS is the weight of common stock, what percentage is common stock in the capital structure. This is what I've just explained here. As you can see, it's an explanation there, which is essentially what you have up there. All right. So let us take a simple example. So this is cost of capital. This is cost of capital components. The different components in the capital structure. Okay. So let us say that this firm has common stock that pays $2.05 dividend last year. The dividends are expected to grow by 5%, and the price of the stock is $25. What is the cost of common stock for this firm? And then here is a firm where that has debt in its capital structure. Okay, it has debt. Some of the business is financed with borrowed money, with bonds. Okay, and the bond has a par value of $1,000, on a 12% interest rate, but a new issue will be selling for 1,150. So the current value of that stock is 1,150, and to mature in 15 years, the tax rate is 34%. This firm also has preferred stock that has a par value, okay, a par value of $100 that pays 7% dividend. But now this same preferred stock is selling for $85. So what is the cost of each of these components? Okay, what is the cost of each of these components? We're going to try to solve for each of these components, and then the question then becomes, this is the same problem. So now the question becomes, what is the weighted average cost of capital for this business? Okay, what would be the weighted average cost of capital? The data that you have here is the same as you have here. So what I've done is to put the information side by side, so as to be able to illustrate the average, the weighted average cost of capital. So I'm going to take the formula here, the weighted average cost of capital. I'll take that formula, I'll bring it over here. Okay. All right. So we're going to look at each of these components, and for this particular problem, we don't have 4 components, we only have 3. We have preferred stock, we have common stock, we have debt. So we're going to take away one part. Okay. Okay, so I just want to make things a little clearer for everybody. So what is the cost of preferred stock? Okay, we already know how to calculate the cost of preferred stock, but I'm going to illustrate it here. Okay, the cost of preferred stock, as we know, is equal to, here we have a 7% dividend, and 7% dividend is, that will be D over P. Okay, when I try to that will be D over P. All right. So what is the dividend? For this particular preferred stock, the dividend is $7 because it is 7% on $100 par value. All right. So the dividend will be 7. All right. So in this case, we have 7. But this particular preferred stock will be selling for $85. And so we divide that by 85, not by 100, because the value of the preferred stock has declined. And so can somebody give me 7 over 85? What is the answer? Yeah, somebody give me the answer. Hello?
0.08235.
Okay, so let us say, let's make that 0.824, 0.0824. So which is 8.24%. All right. Okay. Right. All right, so the cost of preferred stock is 8.24%. We already know how to do that. So we're going to apply the formula. So we're not doing anything heroic here. What we are really doing here is that we're looking at a problem and we're trying to solve that problem from scratch. Okay, that's all we are doing here. We're looking at a problem and we're trying to solve that problem from scratch, right from the beginning. See if we can modify this a little bit. So space, very good. And so now we're going to calculate the cost of debt. Okay, so how do we calculate the cost of debt? How do we calculate the cost of debt? For this problem. So that's where the trick is. What do you consider to be the cost of debt? Now the matter is very, very simple. Okay, the matter is very simple. Let's not go through a lot of rigmarole about it. The cost of debt is the yield to maturity on the debt. The yield to maturity on debt. Okay, so we're going to do the formula for the yield to maturity. All right, we're going to use the formula for yield to maturity in order to calculate the cost of debt. Okay, and so what would that be? I'm going to, can you all see what I'm doing?
Yes, Professor.
Okay.
Yes, Professor.
All right. I'm going to reduce that a little bit, save space. All right. Make it a little bold. All right. So the cost of debt is the yield to maturity on the debt. Of course, we then take 1 minus t, which is the tax rate. So we're going to use the formula for YTM. Okay, so the formula for YTM is I plus, I'm going to take my time so that we can understand what we're doing. Okay, plus M minus V over N, okay, as we know. And we divide this by M plus 2V for 3. Okay, that is the formula for the cost of debt. Okay, that is the yield to maturity on the debt. So let us try to plug in the formulas here and see what we get. Okay, this debt is going to mature at 1,000. Okay, the bond will mature at 1,000, so the maturity value will be 1,000. And the current value of the debt in the market is 1150. And the debt has 15 more years to mature. And so we put 15 there. Okay. So here we have 1,000, and this is 1050. Okay. So this is 2 times 1050. Okay. Over 3. So all of this divided by 3. Okay. And so I'm going to get the answer. I. Okay, what is I? I is the amount of interest. So this bond pays 12% on $1,000. Okay, pays 12% on $1,000. So I will be 120. Okay, and so this is here. Sorry for misleading you on that formula. This is I plus, well, okay, and minus V over N. Okay, so so I will be 120. M minus V is 1,000 minus 1150. Okay, plus 1,000 minus 1150. Okay, over 15. Okay, plus 120. That is 110. That was correct in the first place. All right. And so this will be 110. And then on this side, we have we're going to insert another equation here. So what we're going to have here will be 110 divided by 2 times 1050 plus 1,000 divided by 3, which is 1033. And 33. And what does that give us? So the cost of debt will be 10.64%. 10.64 times 1 minus the tax rate. The tax rate is what? 34%. 0.34. Can somebody give me that cost of debt? Okay, 10.65 times 1 minus 0.34. What does it give you? Hello? Everybody still there?
Yes, Professor.
Yes, Professor. I'm trying to work it out.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
we're
right.
calculating. We're calculating.
Yes, okay, I want to hear that.
I got 7.029. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay. Times 0.66. Okay, I 10.65 10.65 times 0.66 is 7.029, okay, which is 0.07029, which is 7.029%, is 7.029%. All right, so that is our cost of debt, okay? That is our cost of debt. Now, what is the cost of common stock? Okay, we're gonna have to open another line, or maybe we already have this information. Let us see if we can squeeze it here. Okay. All right, so we might be able to squeeze it in there. See if we can squeeze more space out. Yes, we can. All right, so let's look at the cost of common stock. I'm going to call it KS. And we know the formula for the common stock cost is D times 1 plus G over P. So these are formulas that you already know, okay? These are formulas that you already know. And so you can see that you are not yet, learning anything new. What it is that you are applying a critical thinking approach to solving the practical problem. That's all you are doing, okay? What we're trying to say is, now suppose somebody gives you a capital budgeting problem, how would you obtain all that information that you use in capital budgets? How would you obtain the cost of capital? How would you obtain the cash flow? How would you, decide how to weight the various components? Now, we have not done that yet. We're just calculating here the cost of capital. So you can see that we're going through a long process trying to solve this problem from scratch. And so let us see what happens here. Let's see how we apply our method here. Excuse me. Something is playing with me here. Something is playing with me here. All right. So let's see what we do here. The dividend last year was 2.05. So we change that to 2.05 and expected to grow 5%. So this will be 1 plus 0.05. And the stock is currently selling for 25. And so that is very easy. Can somebody give me the answer to that? Are you working on it? Hello?
Yes, Professor.
All right. Okay. You see, I am a preacher here, so I just want to hear the hallelujah.
Okay, 0.0861.
0.0861. Okay.
Yeah.
0.0861. Okay, which is 8.61%. So now, So now we are going to apply that to finding out if a company has this capital structure. Now, we didn't even think about how to calculate capital structure yet, but we're going to assume capital structure, okay? We're going to assume capital structure. So here is the capital structure of the firm. The next example we're going to do will be to show how to determine the capital structure. And once you do that, then you are ready to go. So we're going to set up another set of slides. Okay, so let's copy the capital structure. Okay. So this is the capital structure of the firm. Okay. And all right. Something has to give here. Okay. All right, so now we have all that information. We have the formula. We have the capital structure. And so now we're going to calculate the weighted average cost of capital. Okay. The weighted average cost of capital, we have here the cost of preferred stock. Okay. And preferred stock is 20%. So the weighted average cost of capital is 0.2 times the cost of preferred stock is 8.24% plus the cost of common stock is 8.61%, 8.61 times the weight of common stock is 0.45 plus and the cost of debt is 7. I'm going to call that 7.23 to save space times the weight of debt we say debt is 35%. Okay, 0.35. All right. And so can somebody give me the answer to that?
Okay,
Hello?
Professor, we're calculating again, okay?
All right. I'm glad to hear that.
Okay, I got 7.983.
Okay, so you're correct. It's 7.983. You can do this problem with a table. Okay, you can do this problem with a table. A little table here. Weight There are three components. Okay. All right. And so you have what do you call it? Preferred. You have common. I think I need a table with three parts, not only two parts. You have common, you have debt. Okay. I find a limitation today of PowerPoint. Going to insert another table. Okay. We have preferred, common, we have debt. And the cost of preferred is 8.24. Cost of common is 8.61. The cost of debt is 7.43. Right. And the weight, okay, this is cost. This is capital. And the weight of preferred is 0.20. And the weight for common is 0.45. And the weight for debt is 0.35. So you can prepare a table. And of course, you're going to have a component here where you do the calculation. And so you can do it that way, and it's easier for you. All right. So now that you have calculated the cost of capital, okay, I want to make it big. This is the cost of capital, okay. So now that you have the cost of capital, you can now apply this to the capital budget. But what we have not done is to look at the weights. How do we decide the weights? So let's look at a problem where we have weights. Okay, this is essentially the same explanations that we had before. Let us see if we have an example of weights. Okay, here is another problem. Okay, I'm not going to solve this problem through, but here you have a problem where you have source of capital, and you have, this is a partial balance sheet. Okay, this is a partial balance sheet. And so we're going to take information from this partial balance sheet in order to decide the weights. Okay, so I'm going to create another table here so as to decide the weights for debt. Okay, this represents debt. Okay, this is preferred stock, that is common stock. Okay, so I'm going to get a table here, and we're going to decide on the weights. Okay. Capital weights. All right. But I'm going to use a different kind of Okay. Capital weights. So I'm going to use the information here, 7,000, bond 7, preferred 4, comma 9. Okay, let's see if I can remember. Okay. Capital. Common. Preferred. Debt. Okay. Amount. And what we have here, common is 9 million. Okay. And preferred is 7. Preferred is 4 million. And that is 7 million. All right. And so what is the weight? The weight, very simple, is the proportion of each kind of capital. So the total is, this is 13, so this is 20 million. All right. Okay, so this is 20 million. And so this will be 9 over 20. Okay, 9 over 20 is what? 0.9 over 20 equals 0.45. Okay, so I might as well take this out. Okay, I'm going to take it out. Won't go. Okay, so we just have to start all over. Okay, and this will be 4 over 20, which is 0.20, and this will be 7 over 20, which is 0.35. You can say 35%. And 35%. So that's it. That is how you calculate the weights. Okay, you take the balance sheet information and you calculate the weights. And so now you can now use these weights to apply to how you calculate the weighted cost of capital. You can go ahead and solve a capital budgeting problem like this one that you have here. Okay, you already know how to calculate cash flow and what have you, and you can easily apply that here. What I could do, is I'll provide you an example of that, but I'll post it online for you, and you see how you can do that problem. I'll change this maybe to 975 to 25, so as to make it easier for you to calculate. Okay, so now I am done with my presentation. Do you have any questions? Is there anything that you want to clarify? Hello?
So for example, this problem that you have up now, right, Professor? The
Yes.
cost of installation and transportation. What's the question we're supposed to answer in this?
Okay, I'm going to stop share this and use this information to solve a practical problem. Okay, I'm going to stop share this. I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet and let's see if we can clarify things. Okay.
Just a little bit. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. All right. Here is the same problem. Okay. That's the same problem. Let's see if now according to the problem, okay. According to the problem, what we have this project. This is the cost of the what do you call it, equipment. So I'm going to call this equipment. Okay, is 945,000. The installation, the cost of installing any equipment is part of the capital cost. So you add it there as part of the capital cost. So the total capital investment is 945 plus 17. So you have 962. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So now we are told that the price of the good is $175 and will grow 7.2% for the first 2 years. And so this will grow okay, let's say here, grow 7.2% and 2.5%. Okay, so this will grow 7.2% for the first 2 years. So we have okay, so year 1, year 2, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, that's a 5th year, okay, so 5th year, this is year 5, okay, and so this will be equals H2 star 1.072. Okay, so it will grow by 7.2% for the first 2 years, and then for the next 3 years, year 3, year 4, year 5, it will grow by 2.5%, equal to I2 star 1.025. All right, and so we take this to year 5. So what they're saying is that this product will be selling for it's the sales price that will grow like that. So let me, the price, okay, it's the sales price that will grow that way, not the price. Okay, X equal to H3. Okay. Okay. So we're in business. These are numbers. Regular number. Okay. So we're simply saying that the first year we're going to sell 9,500 units. The second year we're going to sell 10,000 units. The third year we're going to sell 10,004, 10,006, 10,009 units. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The price will not change. So the price will be $175 throughout the period of the project. Okay. And so our revenues will be the sales price times the number of units, which will be equal to H2. Okay. Star times
Units sold.
H3.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That will be all right. And so expenses, they say expenses will be variable cost will be $95 per unit and decrease by 3.5% from year 2 through year 5. All right. And so expenses will be equals 95, okay, times what do you call it? So let's create a line here for expenses. Variable cost. Okay. The first year will be 95. Second year will be equal to it will decrease by 3.5%, which is 0.965 times H1. Okay. So expenses will be $91 the second year, so forth and so on. So I will go to $82 by the final year. So expenses will be equals H1 times the quantity units of sales times H3. Okay, so that will be expenses and cost minus all right. Now fixed expenses will be fixed throughout the project. All right. Depreciation is based on no, it's based on it's an MACRS, and so this will be 0 here, and so depreciation will be the percentage here, which is 33%, times. So you can use H4 for that. So let us use, it was H4. Okay, we can go down the line. 7, it should be $4, sorry. $4. How could that be? $4.
H4, H7, and say HB. You have to put it down.
Okay. Okay, sorry. It has to be G
Seven.
$G7,
Mhm.
$G7 plus $G8. All right. See, and so okay, the last year zero depreciation, and so you have your net income, okay, and then you have your tax rate, which is 30%. All right, and then you have your net income. You add back depreciation. Let us take this to the end, and let us take that to the end. Okay, as a tax, and so take that to the end. Okay, we add back depreciation, and that will be the net cash flow. And so now we are using 11.87%, but let us go back to the problem we had. What was our weighted average cost of capital? Let us use the calculation that we made. The weighted average cost, does anybody remember what we had?
No, I didn't write it down.
Did not write it down?
Didn't.
Yes, you should. That
Because
means I have to go back and look for it now.
I want to say it's 8.026 or something, but I'm not sure. No.
All right, I'm gonna
It's
have to.
I think it's 8.61, Professor.
That was the cost of common stock, but we calculated the weighted cost of capital, and we got some number.
It was 7.983.
7.983. Thank you so much for keeping good
You're
notes.
welcome. You're welcome.
All right, well, 7.983%. So I'm not looking for it and I cannot find it. I'm looking for it and I cannot find it. But I will find it. Okay. We did calculate it. 7.983%. Okay. Let's go back to it. Okay. And so the present values 0.07 0.07983. Okay. And so we take it across. All right. So we find out that our net present value is positive. Okay. That's what we find out. So we are going to accept this project.
Professor, this was very helpful.
Thank you so much. I'm glad
Are you
that.
save this so we can look at it?
Oh, well, of course, as you know, it's always posted.
Okay, good. Perfect.
It's always posted. Okay. It's always posted. And so you have a couple of homework problems. So this is going to be posted. I'm going to post the video and I'm going to also post the spreadsheet. So
Thank you.
All right. So any other questions?
Thank you, Professor.
No, none for me.
All right, thank you so much for coming.
Mhm.
So I will see you next week. All right.
Okay, Professor.
Next week is what? Next week is what? 24th?
Yeah, the Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh no, we're
Yeah.
not gonna do anything next week. Okay, it's gonna be after that.
Okay.
Okay,
All
okay.
right. So there'll be no office hour next week. On the
Okay,
20th.
thank you, Professor.
All right. Have a nice evening, everybody.
You too. Y'all enjoy your Thanksgiving with your family.
Yeah, you